Hello and welcome to Michael's Minty Music. It's been a little bit. Today we're reviewing Taylor Swift's new album, The Life of a Showgirl. Just came out earlier this fall and it is alright. This is the track listing and these are the tracks added to my playlist, 6 out of 12, so exactly half. This album is not that great, but it's not absolutely terrible. The music and instrumentation is mostly pretty uninteresting. Kind of standard pop stuff that's been in fashion for the past decade or so. None of it is so jarringly bad to actually hurt the album, but there are basically no songs here that sound really good. There's also a very boring drum machine that sits in the background of every song on the album, and I really wish it would change at some point, but it never does. Lyrically, the album shifts between decently well-written hooks and verses to some absolutely terrible bits of writing and strange-sounding ideas. This becomes more apparent on the second half of the album. Some of the songs on the bottom couple of tracks are musically kind of more interesting than most of the album, but lyrically are not good. I kind of wonder if it's intentional for some of the songs, but I think I'm giving too much credit for that. In terms of the whole album, it flows alright, but it doesn't really have much texture since it's so uninteresting musically. Lyrically, the themes are consistent, though this really feels like more a bunch of poems than an actual music album. But with that in mind, it's not a terrible group of poems. Both the opening and closing tracks are pretty decent, probably the best two songs on the album, so it doesn't feel too bad to listen to. Interestingly, there were no singles released before the album, and this is probably going to be one of the first ones in a while to not really have any big hits from this one. People, maybe that first track and maybe the last track, but other than that, I don't think people are going to be talking about these tracks in a year or two. My favorite track here, though, probably Opalite. The lyrics are pretty decent, and although it's not really treading any new ground for her, it's probably one of the few tracks here that's just as good as the average song off of her last couple of albums. As I already mentioned, the opening track and the closing track are both pretty good. I ranked this album 9th out of Taylor Swift's 12 albums. This is definitely her worst album in a while. The only thing that this beats out is Reputation, which I don't really like very much, and her early stuff, which was very country and while still pretty good, definitely not as good as the rest of her work. The quality on this album is very similar to Reputation. It's got a few good songs, but too many not good ones to really compete with most of her albums as a whole. Even the Tortured Poets department in the last album had a higher hit rate of decent and interesting songs, and that album's full of a bunch of extra tracks that should have been cut. Reputation might have some songs that are better than most of the stuff on Life of a Showgirl, but I think the decade of experience helps this album be a little bit better, because there are some tracks on Reputation which are really jarringly bad, in my opinion. So, additionally, this album's not going to take my top spot from 2025. That stays with the Beth's new album, Straight Line Was a Lie, which is definitely a lot better here. If you don't like Taylor Swift, this album is not really for you, while I would suggest this Beth's album to anyone and everyone. So, definitely keeps it hands down, no real competition there. Thank you for watching. Next up, I'll hopefully getting back to Coldplay with their 2005 album X and Y. It'll be good to kind of get back on the track here of listening to some music, so stay tuned for that, and as always, stay minty.